So my usual short story Saturdays have been focusing on Stephen King short stories, and he's got a reputation for like very bizarre, weird things in his books. Yeah, he's got nothing on this. Hi, Shell. And hello to all you other wonderful weirdos watching. Okay, so I decided I was going to read the Cursed Bunny short story collection by Bora Chung, translated by Anton Hur. Okay, I have no idea what I've just read. Kind of, I was reading this and um. When I say Stephen King has nothing on how bizarre this is, I need to explain. Let me explain. Oh my god. How do I explain this? Okay, so the first story in The Cursed Bunny is called The Head. I don't know how to explain this story. The first story in here is called The Head, and right. Just to get my thoughts together, start at the beginning. It's just a little paragraph of a woman. She's just been to the toilet, and as she's washing her hands, she realises there's a head there, calling her mother. Yeah, there's a head in the toilet bowl, peering up at her. Or what's something that resembles a face, calling her mother. So this kind of continues for a few bits. She's actually quite shocked by this. She's like confronting it, going, "What the hell? Don't call me mother. Don't, not the fact that there's a head in the bowl. Like, how is this possible?" It's more of a, how dare you call me mother? What are you? How dare you be in my toilet? Type of shock. But the thing is, with this head, it's the reason why it's calling her mother is because she's creating it by what she's putting down there. So when I say Stephen King has nothing on that, I don't think, or at least I have not read a Stephen King that touches upon that kind of weirdness, but definitely weird. And it kind of read to me because she just like slams this toilet seat shut, flushes it, makes sure it goes away every time. And it read like somebody who was very anal. And when I say anal, I mean tidily and clean. When we apply the word anal, it's usually in psychology terms. When we describe somebody as anal, it's like very meticulously put together, tidy, organised, clean. And it just read that way for the first part because she's very ashamed of this head. She's like terrified of this thing, and she does reach out to people who just like are very nonchalant about this. It's like, there's a head in my toilet. Oh really? Just ignore it. Just flush it and go put it away. It's fine. I kind of got the feeling it was like some shame over toilets and what we do there, and that's what it read in the first part of this. Because she kind of quit her job because the head appears in the toilet at work, and so because she's quit her job, her family's just like, okay, just marry this, you got to start marrying and like settle down then. And so she does. She kind of she goes through that beat of life where she dates somebody, and there's a line in that date that kind of just nails on a chalkboard for me. And it's just like, it's very difficult to find a shy girl like you these days. And it's just like, it's kind of like a critique on that, actually. Because she's also fidgeting nervously because this thing that's happening in her private bathroom life is kind of having such a psychological effect on her that it's making her uncomfortable around other people, going, what happens if this becomes a problem elsewhere? And she continues dating this person, and engaged in a short period of time, married 3 months later. Yeah, it's very quick, but I don't know what the culture is like in these places where it's natural for women to, once they've quit their job or when they get married, they quit their job and become the house wife. Honestly, I don't know what it's like over there, but it is kind of critiquing that in this little short story in a way. But the head keeps showing up, despite already like giving birth to a daughter. She continues seeing this head in the toilet, and she's just like, no, you can't call me mother. The only person who can call me mother now is this child, because even the head is just like, is that baby yours? And it's very creepy and eerie, and it's like somewhat sinister, and you kind of think, is this head going to get jealous of the baby? Kind of horror, because the head keeps coming back despite how weird and gross you would feel, because it is like the DNA that you have that gets put in the toilet. Like, even the thing even has hair from when we molt. It even changes red because she becomes on her period, and it's just all of the things. And this thing is a part of what she is creating, and all it wants is for her to keep feeding it for her bodily stuff, just so it can keep growing. But she refuses. She keeps flushing it down every time it appears. Not that she's not flushing to begin with, she is like flushing, but as she's washing her hands, it appears and she just like flushes it again. That's just to be clear, she is flushing it the first time, but yeah. It did confuse me when I first read the part, and it was just like, didn't she flush already? But apparently it is made clear later on that she does do the thing, flush and then wash her hands. But oh god, this is a very weird story. I'm discussing toilet behaviours in a short story Saturday. Okay, anyways, but this is a really good story when you get past the weirdness of the toilet. But this gets so into her mind. Like, she has this nightmare of being flushed, her family being flushed, because it becomes part of her, like the head pops out of everywhere and she tries to flush it and it flushes everybody, and her daughter finds it amusing. She keeps pointing at it and laughing, and it just becomes like so like ingrained part of her life that she eventually, when her daughter's like grown up, it becomes this, oh, I saw her head in the toilet the other day. I was just like, oh, don't worry about that. Just flush it and keep on going. Just, it becomes, and she just continues on with her day, and it's just like that kind of part of it. It reads shame in the beginning, but as her daughter grows up, the story becomes part of one of self-hatred, and it's seen in like when we see her daughter grow up into a young lady, and she sees signs of her own youth in her daughter, and it's just like one of those things that is explored in this little story, that a mother will see a better version of herself because this child has become a younger version of something that looks like her. So I can really see it happening. So I can actually see the genius part of that, going like, this is the human experience, and it's just told through this, and eventually it gets connected to what is happening with the head, because eventually the head becomes a full body, because she's just been ignoring it and flushing it every time it happens. Because one time she does actually take the head out of the toilet and throws it away and tries to destroy it, but it doesn't work. And so she's just given up and lets it continue. This is the routine going, we have to flush the head, keep it at just a head. Okay, that just took a second for me to realise I had knocked over my water when I had stacks of books here for a video I'm planning to record later this afternoon. Oh dear. It's fine. I mean, the ones that got water damaged were children's books that are going to get child damaged anyways. Missed the chair. How'd I do that? Ah. So there's no more books stacked here. It's fine. That teaches me to stack books. Anyways, where was I can't remember. Okay, so I think I was getting closer to the end where the head has officially grown out of the toilet, like grown into a full body and is like climbing out of the toilet. This is described so eerily. It's and the woman is like looking at her grey hairs in the mirror and just like just at that point in life where she's like criticizing her age and her appearance, showing that age. And so when this head grows into a full person and it's just climbing out, and yeah, it is very eerie, and she's just like not exactly caring that this thing is now in full form and got a body. And yeah, when it finally climbs out and she just turns around and the conversation is, as I promised, I will go off and live my life away from you, because that was pretty much the intention from the beginning. Just let me grow and I'll go away and I'll live elsewhere. I'll be out of the way, don't worry. Which is very reasonable. But throughout this entire thing, she has been flushed repeatedly in this horrific state of being, removed and destroyed, or attempted to be destroyed several times. Not particularly great. And so now that she's finally out, she's still sticking to her guns, going, yeah, I'll go off and live my life, but I have one request. I just want a set of clothes because I'm naked. And so the woman goes off, finds clothes, but the thing stops her and goes, no, don't go out your way. Just the ones off your back. And so the woman is just like, how ungrateful are you? I won't give you the clothes off my back. And yeah, this whole thing becomes a thing of ungrateful. You've treated me so terribly. I have endured so much. I have lived in a dark hole all my existence up until now. And the thing is right. There's even that haunting line. Oh God, I underlined this. This is a good story, despite being the concept of a thing being born from human waste is insane as it is. It is such a good story, just exploring different things of like a person's life, like the potential shame of going to the toilet too, because it just reminded me of that one skit in Family Guy where Peter is going to try and potty train Stewie, and there's this Catholic joke of a book titled "Oh, you're a naughty child, and that's concentrated evil coming out the back of you." And there is a bit of shame posted to certain things of that is normal to human existence, like periods. But there's also like, and it also covers a mother seeing her own youth in her own child as she grows up, and then this thing comes out and is having this existential conversation to her, and it's just like, did I ask you to give birth to me? You birthed me even when I didn't want it, and did you not try at every turn to destroy me out of hatred and disgust? And it has a bloody point. It didn't ask for this, it just became. Nobody asks to be born, we just are. And it's up to the parent to decide what to do with us. Really, I mean, if you think about it, back in a lot of babies weren't kept. There was a line in Byzantium, but it's just like, even in that movie, babies would be drowned instead of kept. But yeah, it depends on the parent to keep, or if she does keep it, because there is, once something is born into existence, I'm not going into an abortion conversation, that is pre-birth stuff. This is post-birth conversation, and how parents treat what they have created, because there are some shitty parents out there. But this is like an average person going about their average day, going about their average life. And even she has her own biases towards this creature that has been created. And it could open up so many other conversations, like, what does this actually represent, really? It's not just a thing in a toilet. It could just be a hated child that wasn't wanted, whereas this other child is, because it was part of the traditional family unit, like birthed from the husband as well, like birthed in a traditional family structure where she has a husband and stuff, whereas this thing came out of sheer existence and was treated terribly, and not as something with its own agency, because even in its own desperate need to survive, it asked a janitor who found the bag she was put in to flush her back down the toilet, just to continue the existence and hope it can regain itself. I don't know, maybe I'm reading a little too much into it, but that's the beauty about, like, some of the things in here, because once she does agree to give this thing her clothes from her back, she strips down and gives the person this thing, this new form of life, clothing from her back. And then the thing turns on her and goes, "You're not leaving this bathroom. You're going down the toilet now." And this woman is just like shouting at her, saying how ungrateful this thing is, because she's just given the clothes off her back. And it's just like, still, you've treated this thing pretty poorly. It's kind of like karma, really. But it's just like, what have you done with you've lived your life. Let me go live mine. And now it's your turn to live like I have lived. I mean, it's not as if she's had, like, it's not as if this woman has done a lot with her life. In fact, there's quite a few bits of regret in some of the descriptions in this. Like, even the marriage, because even the line of the marriage was, they had spent too much of their marriage in a state of emotional detachment to really start making an effort to be affectionate now. And then it became like routine that he would go off to work, her daughter would live her own life, and she was like left alone to do nothing but watch TV. And it's just like, partly because she would watch TV until the national anthem came on, partly because she had nothing else to do, but more so because she thought if she concentrated hard enough on the screen, an odd feeling little space that had appeared in her heart. The space felt empty sometimes, full at others, and bitter or aching at still at other times. And it's just like, so she kept watching TV, trying to empty her heart and mind as she gazed upon the meaningless progression of scenes on the screen. She's not actually content with her life either. This has so many different readings of it, and it's fascinating. So despite being weirder than anything I've ever read so far, it's also so deep and so critical of how we treat, like, life forms that aren't the norm. 20 pages of this woman freaking out about what is growing out of her toilet from her, and then being completely disgusted by it, worried other people's opinions on it, even though they're nonchalant about it. It reads like a bad parent because she doesn't love a creation, even though that creation is not of the norm or of usual conception and usual birthing. It is a part of you, despite how it's come into this thing. It didn't ask to be there. It's been treated like crap, regardless. But just because how it's come into this world and how it's not seen to be what children should be. It's quite heartbreaking on the creature's side of things. Like, this story has sympathy for the creature, but it's also from the perspective of the mother, kind of. It's still in third person, like, but it's still following the mother's perspective and how it's like shaping this person's like fear of what is going to happen. I put this down a few times just because it was just like a little too like gross, but at the same time I enjoyed it because it has that secondary like meaning to it. All of the stuff like in the subtext of what like the theming of it, and I'm just blown away by it, honestly. Even though it is about a head sticking out of a toilet, you can explore pretty much anything. It is a weird story, but a good one because the writing is smashing. Wow. So that's The Head by Bora Chung. I kind of was not sure what I was expecting going into this short story collection, but I'm excited to continue reading just because of the bizarre is being like some really deep themes are being explored in the bizarre, and it is fascinating. Whew. So yeah, I'm happy that I've chosen this to alternate with my Stephen King. I can only imagine how this might get weirder, but I can't. But yeah, it's just making something from the everyday that we don't normally think about and exploring it in such a unique way. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Can't wait. Anyways, that's this week's short story. Bye, Shao. And bye to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.